One of the biggest challenges that leaders face today is to find that sweet spot between, on the one hand, being too hard, authoritarian, and directive, which demotivates people, but on the other hand, being too soft and easygoing, with the risk of not getting results. And this is what we'll be discussing today in our episode of In Good Company. With me, I have Ray Debattista, Chief Officer of People and Culture with Bank of Valletta. I've known Ray for many years, and he has always championed values-driven leadership, trust and integrity. And these are qualities that have become more rare to find, but more relevant than ever before. In today's conversation, we're going to look at the real meaning of psychological safety, because it's often misinterpreted, how to build a real speak-up culture, what it means, and what we as leaders can do to create organizations where people can feel safe, it's important, where they're accountable, and where they are free to perform at their very best. So let's get right into it. I'm Patrick, your host, and today we're in good company with Ray Debattista. Hello, Ray.
Hello, Patrick.
Thank you for joining us and supporting our podcast. My favorite question, the man behind the role. Who is Ray Debattista apart from the role, the chief, etc.?
Okay, let me give you a bit of what is Ray all about.
Yes.
Besides BOV, with whom I worked for a good number of years, a number of decades, but I will not disclose
Let's not.
the number of years because of age, etc.
Because we go back
Yes, we have two
many years.
yes, many years. Basically, I'm married to Lucian. I have two sons, David and Michael. They're around 25 and 24. I have a number of hobbies, starting from photography. I'm passionate about football, especially
I know what's coming.
when it comes to the Maltese football's Floriana Football Club, who have won the league this year, and Arsenal Football Club when it comes to the English Premier League, and hopefully in the next few days we'll be close to winning the Champions.
Because there's...
Yes, on Saturday.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
hopefully we'll get there.
But you see, very passionate about...
Yes, especially it took us 22 years to win the league again. So it's like we have to be very persevere. Perseverance is, I think, one of the most important condition. If you support Arsenal, you have to be very resilient. And
in fact, I wasn't sure whether to mention this, but a friend of mine who loves teasing told me to mention something around bottling.
yeah. But we can joke about it today.
He told me it's not a compliment.
Before it wasn't,
What?
because it was like for the past 3 years, Arsenal nearly made it to win the league, but for 3 years they came second. So it's like they bottled it at the end of the season. But this time now we're joking about it, so
All right. So
I trusted the process, and now we're
your enthusiasm.
yes.
In fact, I think you got something with you as well. So. Actually, until you bring them out.
Okay, I'll start off with
Okay,
this.
that's the local one.
That's the local one.
Yes.
And I most probably many people will be switching off after.
That's it.
But that's Floriana for you.
Can you believe I have never attended a football match locally?
I can't believe, but it's strange, but it's true.
It's yes.
Arsenal's muffin scarf. So these are, and the once again, more people will be switching off after. So hopefully we'll have something.
So hopefully you are a ray of hope for Arsenal to win the next.
Hopefully, yes.
The first stale joke of the episode. Okay, it's what's funny. My dad, who passed away now nearly 2 years ago, was a huge Arsenal fan and a renowned photographer. So yes, so he's probably turning in his grave at the moment, saying how I wish my son was an Arsenal fan.
Yes, from my end, it was my father who instilled this love for Arsenal.
Okay, as well.
In fact,
Wow.
our home was called Highbury.
Oh.
previous Arsenal stadium. So
Wow.
and I transmitted this love
To your
to
children.
Arsenal to my younger, because David, the eldest one, is not into much into football.
Okay,
but
okay.
when it comes to football, Michael joins me in
Yes.
our passionate weekends and stressful weekends. watching Arsenal.
Exactly. Okay, so talking about passion, right? Let's shift gears and go into the world of work. Today we're looking at psychological safety, and I want to introduce this as a major topic, and then we can go wherever it takes us. So it's not important to stick to that. But a lot has been said about psychological safety, and it's become a bit of a buzzword as well. It's related to, in fact, you called it also a speak up culture, which I'd like you to talk about more, because I think more or less they probably mean the same thing. But definitely having a speak up culture falls under the umbrella of psychological safety. However, what we're finding is that, as I said in the introduction, many people are thinking that it means being soft, easygoing, that everything goes, that it's okay to make mistakes, no consequences. And I think it's being misinterpreted, because in my opinion, it's not like that. In my opinion, it is actually the opposite. It's creating an environment where you can actually challenge, you can give negative feedback, you can have challenging conversations with people without demotivating them. So I'd like to hear, first of all, your views, and then we'll go into the how-to. Okay, but like, what are your views about all this?
Okay, so first of all, I agree with you that nowadays we're using a lot of buzzwords like well-being, like psychological safety, but in real terms, what does it mean to the employee or the person who's being affected? How should this be perceived? And
Yes.
I'm trying to answer this question without being theoretical. I'll be as practical as possible, because even in the knowledge that we are made up of a number of people who are different.
Yes.
So their beliefs are different, the way they were brought up is different. So we need to make sure that we have a common definition when it comes to what this means.
That's it.
So, and it's hard. So whatever we're going to discuss today,
Yes.
since it applies to people, it's not easy. So it's communication part and the explanation part, and this comfort that we try to create when it comes to people.
Exactly.
Feeling free to speak up respectfully, constructively, and being heard. Because I believe that when people are given this opportunity, even when it comes to personal interactions, trusting someone,
Yes.
especially coming from the field of human resources and of people, that if I'm going to confide something in you, some whatever it is, and it could be very important to me, but not as critical to you. But to me, it's very important.
Yes.
The fact that I'm sharing this information with you in a confidential environment, I need to make sure that remains confidential.
Yes.
Because when it comes to the psychological safety and people feeling safe to talk, there's an element of trust. And in a micro level, this amounts to me talking to you in person, in a confined space, in a room, in a meeting. But from a macro environment, it also spreads towards people in the whole organization feeling free and safe to talk, to put their views, to come up with recommendations, suggestions, even to top management.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's okay.
It's okay.
If I don't totally agree, or I share with you that I'm not totally understanding what you're trying to explain. And so when it comes to this speak up culture, it has different variations around it. So it's not like one definition that fits.
It's not one size fits all. No.
So, and that is the way, and this is a step approach when it comes also to culture. And in both these contexts, it's like not only for BOV, but my experience with other colleagues, it's like we're breaking the norm, because we're usually expecting, especially people our age, that if top management say something, it's like dogma.
Yes.
And I think that we should, and we're pushing towards moving that forward towards a bottom-up approach where people who are on the ground come up with ideas, with challenges, with changes, and that's part of the empowerment. Also, culture that we're trying to instill.
And I would link it to fear. So probably the opposite of a speak up culture would be a culture of fear, where people are afraid that if they do speak up, and if what they say is not what they think that their leaders want to hear, so it's different, that they're afraid of being punished. And very often that punishment doesn't necessarily come in the form of an obvious gesture, sort of like, being transferred, but it could be, for example, being sidelined or being labeled as negative. And I hear this quite a lot in organizations. Sometimes people tell me, they say, because I don't agree with everything that is presented to us, I'm labeled as being negative. And in fact, when we're coaching these people, I often tell them, if you want to speak up, try to make sure that you're constructive and you also speak up when things are good, they're right, when you agree, when something is constructive. Because otherwise, yes, you do run the risk of being labeled as negative if you only speak up when things are going wrong.
I think there's a somewhere in between as well when it comes to this fear. I think that rather than being fearful, at least in my experience, rather than being fearful of the consequences or whatever the consequences may be, it's also around not being actively listened to.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yes.
if I come up with a suggestion which is constructive, which is respectful, which is okay, but I'm not being heard in different shapes or modes. So it's like when it comes to speak up culture, most probably you would think about us talking in person. But speaking up also comes through in an anonymous way, through an engagement survey,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
or through a suggestion, which is anonymous,
Which is another form of speak up culture.
which is also like different shades of speaking up
Yes.
when we're trying to change, when you're trying to change a culture, which is the other way around. So I think that when people are given the opportunity to talk,
Yes.
are actively listen to, and also when it comes to being fair and firm.
This is something that you believe in a lot. That you mentioned it, right?
Exactly. I'm saying this because it doesn't mean that whatever you're going to recommend or come up with can be implemented, or is
That's right.
or is at the right time within the context for an organization to implement. But at least you'd give this person an answer and the reason why you're not doing it.
Yes.
And I think that
Yes,
gives
yes.
also a sort of appreciation and acknowledgement that the effort, because many times, especially when it comes to people down the line, it's hard for them to come out and speak. So at least giving that ear,
Yes.
that you're listening to them and try to do something about it and giving a reply, I think it would be enough.
It's already.
At least it's a start, and then you move on.
I'm going to challenge that a little bit in terms of being enough, because I also get a lot of remembers in my case, because like we do a lot of training and coaching, so we get a lot of feedback, and sometimes people tell us, okay, sometimes, as you're saying, you say we're not even heard, we're actually ignored, but sometimes we're also told, yes, we're heard many times, but nothing ever changes. And I think over there's a communication gap. Because if people are feeling that they are speaking up and that they are giving suggestions, they are asking for change, but nothing ever happens, at least in their perception, there must be something there. So I wonder how we can fill that gap so that people don't feel that, nothing ever changes.
Let me give you just
Yes.
two perspectives, okay? When it comes to enough. If sometimes hearing or listening to a person who's hurt about whatever it is, it could be a personal thing, but not necessarily connected to the organization. the fact that this person has someone to talk to. Sometimes that's enough.
Agreed.
Sometimes, and we need to be humble enough to say whether we can, as HR professionals, respond
Yes.
or give recommendations or feedback or suggestions around a particular issue. So that's part of at least someone you can bounce off.
Yes. So at least they found someone to contain
yeah.
and listen to their,
Exactly.
in this case.
Without necessarily
Right.
giving an answer or just
Mhm.
that's one thing. When it comes to the other part, when it comes to coming up with ideas, suggestions, and never being heard, I'll give you a practical example of what we're trying to do in our organization. So we are open to a number of suggestions, and each and every year, annually, we award these people who come up with ideas.
Okay.
And we categorize the best
Mhm,
ideas that are
mhm.
coming forward, and we'll say whether we're in the process of implementing or not implementing because
Because of a
of whatever
particular situation.
And I think that is already a step forward when it comes to at least people being acknowledged
Yes.
for their effort.
Yes.
I think that is the two ways of looking at it. I'm sure that there are other variations.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I truly believe that, at least in my experience, okay, when it comes to people talking to you, you need to earn it. It doesn't happen
That's
overnight.
right. That's right.
People
Yes.
to come and that is I'm making a distinction, a clear distinction between someone talking to someone and a group of people speaking out in front of an audience.
Yes.
Because there,
Yep.
I think there's a big gap. Some people are, at least a lot of people that I have come across over the years, find it easier or in a much safer environment where we're talking in person, one-on-one. There's still a big gap when we are in an audience and was people to ask questions.
I agree, because then it's not just a matter of lack of safety, or it's also a lack of confidence. But
Yes,
we'll
there's
come.
confidence, like
Yes,
barriers.
we'll come to that later. You mentioned that how much easier it is, and I agree 100% for people to speak up one-to-one, rather than when there are these open town halls and 4-hour people are. But I think there's something else related to this, because I find that in Maltese culture, especially because of our maybe upbringing, our lack of training, people are terrified of speaking up in front of other people. So there's also, when I think that as leaders we need to realize that's not the right place to expect people to speak up. Do you find this, that like sometimes in an open forum you get silence? And
Yes, I'll give you my interpretation of what I was doing, and I'll give you a bit of a story around me and tackling this issue when I was younger, because I'm still young. But I was
younger.
So basically, what we're trying to do in our organization at BOV is making use more of, I don't know whether it's an advert, it's Slido.
What is it?
Slido.
Slido.
Because Slido gives you the opportunity to ask questions through this app. And
It's an app?
without
So it's an app.
disclosing your name. So first we introduce a subject, whatever it is, and we'll ask people to speak up and ask questions. And there will be, if there are 100 people, maybe there were 2 who start off.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we open it up through Slido, so it's in confidence. People are, we won't know whoever is putting, and the number of questions.
And then they start coming.
Start pouring in.
There you
And
go.
that creates a discussion. So little by little, and it's important that we address them. So we don't make a difference at this point. No, we're not making a difference whether it's an in-person question or concern or whether it's through Slido.
Okay.
But we're looking at if this is visible in front of
So
us.
does it?
It's visible. We'll just see the questions.
So it's a bit like Mentimeter kind concept.
Yes.
But they put questions and
questions or
they come up.
concerns or points, and we can
Okay.
share the information, give feedback at that point in time.
This could be useful even for some of our listeners who might be having the same issue of people not speaking up.
So it's like a hybrid.
Yes.
So changing the culture
Mm-hmm.
from a culture where people are used to listen
Yes.
more
Yes.
than sharing their knowledge or their experiences or their concerns.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time. And this is like an idea that we're
Very
implementing
interesting.
to try to bridge this. Now, but when it comes to people jumping the hurdle when it comes to speaking up, because I remember the first time I joined the BOV during the induction course, I decided that at a point in time I would be a trainer.
Ah, okay.
So it was the first thing that I remember. I liked the way the person who wasn't giving us the introduction was portraying himself at that point in time, introducing BOV.
And you said like,
Customer,
I want to be, I
there.
want to do what that.
I want to be there. But I wasn't as confident as I am now, much less confident.
Shyer from
In fact,
as well.
when we are, and this happens even today, sometimes to start off a session, we ask people to introduce themselves. And I remember having this apprehension of what am I going to say? So it's like, but you need to jump it.
Yes.
And especially then later on in life, I wanted to become a trainer, like formally,
Okay.
and I had to give my first presentation. And I remember the first time, it was like when we say that, like, I was really praying to hide somewhere. That was my first. But that said, look, if I would really want to do this, I have to
You have to
overcome this.
jump in.
I had to jump.
You have to jump in.
And this is the message I want to try to give.
Please,
to-
yes,
to
this is
the-
really,
to the
really,
young
actually,
people
this
who
is
are
really important.
having this struggle.
It's really important.
It's not like, it's not natural. for us to
Exactly.
be by
It's
definition.
not. It's not.
So you need to work towards it, and if you really want to attain something in life, you need to work for it and persevere.
It's hard work, and
Yes.
I'm really glad this came up because, first of all, yes, training and making presentations is a form of public speaking. So and many people are like, actually there are percentages that over 80% of people are afraid of public speaking, and it's amongst their top fears. Top 3 fears, like they fear, spiders and heights and going into lifts and claustrophobia and agoraphobia, and one of them is actually this of fear of public speaking. And they sometimes tell me, because I public speak every day, it's part of my life, and I've come to a point now where even if I'm in front of 100 people, I sometimes I test my heart rate to see if it's any faster. And it's not. I say, okay, is there blood running somewhere in my veins? But that's because of desensitization. And they think it's easy. It's hard work. It doesn't come, like as you said, if you really want something and you see that it's something that you want to do, it doesn't mean it's going to happen just like that. And I really want to tie this to something about not only the bank, but even work in general, because there's this tendency. I don't know if you see it from an. I appreciate that you bring a very strong HR perspective. That people want success overnight, and they don't appreciate. Maybe it's a symptom of the younger generation too. They don't appreciate that if you want to climb a mountain, whether you have better equipment, better technology, better communications, safer ropes, but there's still a mountain to climb. And sometimes I feel that there isn't that appreciation that, there is a mountain to climb and you need to climb it. Kind of. Do you see that sometimes, that it's like they want to be able to do that, but the gap between where I am now and where I want to get and what it takes to get there?
Okay. So stop me.
Okay. No.
Because one of the things that I really focus on in my life, though it's not always easy, is being grateful.
Oh.
And I think that in the past years, I have come across people who are not even grateful that they're alive and healthy, let alone
Yes.
achieving whatever they want in life. So, and when they ask me, how are you? I'm great.
Yes.
I'm alive.
Yes.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. And of course, we're after growing in life, not just in organization, growing as when it comes to career, when it comes to whatever we need and whatever we want in life to achieve. But I think that we're suffering from this is like karma. So we are suffering from what is termed as instant gratification,
Yes.
where we are like, even the way we have nurtured and we have helped our children grow is like, if they want something, it's like we're obliged to give it to them right away.
Yeah.
So it's like youngsters nowadays, and then I'm not going to tie this up with young people because I see it.
We get it too.
So it's not like I'm not trying to pinpoint because I see people from their generation who are patient and ready to grow step by step, and I see others who want to grow
Yes.
and have everything in an instant. So I think this is part of what this culture of instant gratification. Even when nowadays, if you want to buy something, you just go on, you switch on your mobile
Yes.
and you get it. And this has been transposed in our culture.
The workplace.
In the workplace.
And
So
career
people are less
growth.
patient
True.
than we were before when it comes to moving up the ladder. And I think that we're missing out on, because some people have a good academic background, but not necessarily the experience to do certain things the right way, because they need to go through
Yes.
a cycle which is natural. I think that this is the gap that we need to bridge, and the economy that we're living in, where there are so many jobs available, makes it easier for people to expect more. Because I see this also in organization. Before we used to issue vacancies, we still do that, but we need, and it's not just BOV, it's across. When the talent is so scarce today that you need to literally go through and filter different vacancies, trying to get the right talents for to achieve our strategy. And this gives the power to the employees to ask for more.
Of course.
So it's like
It's interesting to hear the other side of it from the kind of employer's point of view, because yes, so if people know that it's easy to find another job or to get a better pay also, because sometimes it's that. Obviously, they're going to ask for more with more confidence, and maybe be less appreciative, because you mentioned gratitude. Be less appreciative of what they have.
Incidentally, I have seen a shift, at least in organization, when it comes to expectations. So if we were to ask people, our employees, what is the most important thing for you? So 5 years ago, it was pay.
Okay.
Nowadays, there is much more emphasis on work life.
All right.
Much more.
Okay.
And
So you're seeing this. So
Yes.
you're getting more emphasis on having a balance in their life, because again we're moving away from the word work-life balance, because in a way it gives the wrong message that work is not part of your life. So we try and say having a balanced life rather than work-life balance, which means that yes, you have work, but you have also other hobbies, as you mentioned, like the football and whatever. So are you seeing, especially from an HR and recruitment perspective, are you seeing a shift where people are perhaps becoming a little less money-oriented and giving more importance to having this balance?
Look, when it comes to money, it's always important. So we're not trying to, in a way, discount the importance of money, because at the end of the day, money is important.
Yes.
But there are other things in life, like living a healthier life, having a balance, which are becoming ever more important. When it comes to the last survey that we conducted, this work
Internally at the
Internally.
bank?
this came out clearly.
I see, okay.
Even when it comes to trying to attract people towards an organization, one of the things that people expect is having the opportunity to work from home.
Yes.
So
True.
this was
Hybrid.
something which was unheard of before. And even organization before COVID, it was something which was like,
Unheard of.
but
There was no such thing.
Instantly, in a couple of weeks after COVID, we had 1,000 people working from home.
Wow.
So it was possible. The impossible became possible.
Became possible.
And I think it's one of the positive things that came out from COVID.
Yeah.
So, but there's also a balance that we need to achieve with that, because when it comes to working from home, just to give this idea a bit of thought, we need to ensure that there is the team rapport, the dynamics.
Exactly.
So
it
it's
links
like,
to psychological safety as
exactly. And knowing the people around you. So if you have a group of people who are constantly working from home, is it the same like working with people around you every day, or at least twice a week, twice a week, or 3 times a week? So I think there needs to be a balance between the facility of work from home, because it's also what it gives the people the opportunity to work from home, whatever, and whatever they want to do, obviously work-wise, like more flexible, but at the same time without losing out on the importance of people talking to people in person.
All right. So, I don't expect a precise answer, but do you have any idea what the best balance is between remote working, which is an expectation nowadays, and working at the office, at the place of work, to retain the connection, the team feeling, the sense of belonging, the cohesion, the social capital where people can access each other's information without having to go on Teams or you know, is there, have you experimented with a balance which is?
We did. It doesn't mean that we have the right exact formula.
Okay.
But in my mind, at least, people need to at least connect in person twice a week.
Okay.
At least there, but I don't want to be. It's not like something which is that I'm trying to relay something which is cast in stone, because it is different. It applies different in different contexts.
That's right. Yeah.
So, for example, if you're a group of 5 people and you know the people well, and you know that a person needs to work from home for a week, doesn't mean that we need to be very inflexible and say, look, it's twice a week or nothing. But at the same time, we cannot let people, at least from my perspective, to work from home for a long period of time without that connection with the rest. So I think that is a balance between, and you also need to be also aware that there are people, some employees who cannot work from home.
That's the other
So
thing.
they're front left.
Of course, they're customer
Because they're
facing.
customer facing.
Exactly.
And even there we can work towards, because we need to create some sort of balance when it comes to people who are also on the front line, who can do work from home at least once a week. So there are jobs within the front line where people can work from home for a day, for example, to prepare a mortgage loan. It's getting it.
They do it at home.
So it's like, but it's not, nothing that I'm saying is easy. Nothing is applicable as a one
Across the board.
We talk about different people, different line managers, who have different concepts of the choice, disconnect, or this balance. So, and this is part of our nurturing part when it comes to the definition, what we expect as an organization, what is good, what works, and what doesn't work. But at the same time, we need, what we're going to do is empower our line managers.
That's it. Yes.
To take the responsibility to adapt and to adopt measures according to their context. So it's gone are the days where an HR function at head office dictates to the leaders across the organization what they should be doing. So, and that is part of the journey that we're going through when it comes to us decentralizing our role. We're having more people who are just not the technical managers, but people managers who will give the information of what is acceptable and what is not, the policies, the legal framework around it, the industrial relations parts, because they need to know,
of course, because there's that.
the rights and the duties.
Yes.
And once we equip these people with this information, they'll be more safe to take these decisions. Because sometimes the concept of the legacy that we have in Malta is like, there is HR, there's a problem, give it to HR.
In fact, sometimes jokingly, I call it human remains, not human resources, because it's like dump it on HR. But that's changing. That's changing. I think I think what you're saying is really important. Also, to first of all, responsibilizing managers to be people managers and to accept their responsibility, and but also have the power to. I liked what you said. Adapt and adopt, because if they have the power to say, for example, in our particular function, in our particular department, we can adapt to this kind of working, but then the working pattern, but then we adopt it, which might be different from another function, and see how it goes.
Rightly so. People tell us, look, empower me to do more. But with empowerment comes responsibility and accountability. So once you become empowered, the organization is giving you the authority and the safety to take decisions.
Yes.
And that is something that I will relate to what you were saying at the beginning. The fear of making a mistake.
Yes. Yes, let's explore that, because it's quite important. It's different from speaking up.
Yes.
It's the mistakes.
So there are mistakes and there are mistakes, okay? But we need to give the people the space to experiment a bit. So one of the things that I came across a few years ago was a couple from Stephen Covey. And those who know me well know that I preach this because it's something natural to me. And he was describing this like two circles, the circle of influence and the circle of concern. So basically, if we were to picture this, it's like a small circle, which is the power that you have, you control whatever you control, have control over. And the rest, the big circle, is the concern, whatever
Things that
makes us things and not necessarily within our control. Let to give you an example. We both have children. Our power is to give them the right upbringing and the right values. But then the concern, what they're going to do when they get older, we don't have a lot of control over, especially when they leave and you don't know whether they're coming back home, if they're going out, who they're meeting with. So that is the concern. And many people are lost in this part of the concern. So the idea is give the people more power to the decisions, trust them, and this circle of influence. It's growing.
Grow it. You grow the circle of influence.
So people, and this is the same. The technique I've been trying to do with organization, empowering people, give them the space to take risks, calculated risks. It's okay, and it's not like whatever you do, it's okay. But there's the safety if you do a mistake. Okay, we'll help you out, and coaching and mentoring along the way is important. It's not that dumping or delegating something without the knowledge that a person can do it. But sometimes you need to push someone to move away from what they're used to do. And
it can be easy. It can be easy not to take on that responsibility, even when it's given to you. And sometimes the complaint is that it's not given to us. But then, for example, what we find in coaching very often is that then there'll be a fear. What if I... And that fear is not always coming from the external influence. It's also always coming, what if I fail and get punished? But it's also, what if I fail and feel like a failure? So, and this is where coaching comes in, because coaching in itself is empowering, in an empowering organization. So what can happen with coaching is that if the coaching empowers, but the organization doesn't, then you get a conflict, right? Because the coaching is helping me to discover my strengths, discover my talents, realize that I have certain influence to influence the circle of influence. But then if the system doesn't allow it, technically you can feel even more frustrated. And sometimes people actually leave because of that, because they say, look, I realize that, I have a lot to do. I wish to explode from an influence point of view, but it's stifled. So in a way, the reassurance that you're allowed to experiment, as you said, to a certain extent, because obviously you can't apply this in aviation, for example. Just experiment and see what happens. So there are limits, but I think it's really important that the experimentation is encouraged. and that mistakes, as you said, they're discussed, analyzed, diagnosed, and then can see how that mistake can not be repeated, and that's growth for you.
You reminded me about, I don't want to talk about models, theories, etc. But
We can, you know, I mean, it's
but I'm trying to apply, because I remember in my MBA days when I was reading MBA, there was this particular model which was by credit and trust. And when I was studying this, I couldn't really relate to it initially. Models, it was a three-dimensional model. But basically what it was saying is the difference between what an organization says and the actions that are taken. And there's a message in between. So if, for example, we're saying, look, we will empower you. But if you do a mistake, we'll punish you.
Yeah, that's
If we say, look, we're focusing on your well-being, but then our actions are adverse to what? And this is the message that people
yes,
understand. So there's a line between the full empowerment and the accountability, and where people feel safe and grow.
okay,
But the organization needs to give this safety, like a safety context, when people
Yes.
can grow, can talk, can do mistakes, can discuss between them, because it's like even in organizations which are by definition big, they tend to work in silos. When it comes to cross-functional ideas, coming up with
yes.
different ideas and suggestions and discussing it, because sometimes you feel alone. But when you're discussing with Patrick, it could be that Patrick has gone through these experiences already.
You realize
And
that
that it's not that hard, and you share. So it's like, even when it comes to tackling challenges or opportunities to work, depends on how we look at them. Sharing these and feeling safe to talk
Yes.
to someone. I don't know how to do this. Can you show me?
yes, and this then relates to the vulnerability of, which is only possible if there is real psychological safety, of having the humility to say, I am struggling with this, and with some cross fertilization of ideas between people, we can sort of come to a solution that perhaps
I
is,
tried this
you know,
myself today with my senior management. Where there is an issue, like for example, when it comes to legality around remuneration. I have a person who is proficient in that area, and I ask questions. It doesn't mean that if
Yes.
you're
because they are
leading a function like people and culture, you know everything.
Exactly.
You will never know everything, and things are changing so rapidly that to keep abreast
That's the
of all the
other thing.
changes, you know,
Exactly.
it's quite practically impossible doing it on your own. So, and this comes also with giving an example and showing that you're vulnerable and you don't know it all.
Yes.
I think that gives a perspective that people understand that, oh, it's okay that I don't know everything, because even Ray has been with the bank for so many
exactly, and
years.
it's a leadership.
like-
it's a leadership model that is not based on pretending to know all the answers or to have all the solutions, but to lead through the people, because you know, like that the people are actually helping you to lead. I want to throw something else in this conversation because it's evolving in an interesting way. I know that integrity is one of your core values, and I know that because I've known you for a long time now. How can we unpack integrity in a corporate context, okay, where it's not always that easy to maintain your integrity? And you know, I was thinking that I think employees can forgive mistakes more than they can forgive hypocrisy or lack of integrity. Like how do you see this as a professional and as a leader? You know, this challenge of leading with integrity.
Okay. Let me start to unpack it
Okay,
in my own way.
peeling the onion.
Let's start off with, because before I think we touched a bit upon this, when I said that you need to earn
Yes.
people's trust. And I think when it comes to integrity, people need to trust. So on a personal level, that I think that you need to prove yourself, that when you say people, you need to be respectful, you need to be fair and firm. People need to see you play it.
Yes.
So then when it comes to the organization, there are things which are appreciated and applicable and accepted in the organization, and these need to be clear when it comes to the values, the wider part of the values, what behaviors are acceptable to an organization, what not. So people need help
Yes.
because, as I said
Absolutely.
before, if I were to give you a definition of integrity, most probably the audience would have different interpretations. So,
Yeah, probably.
so
probably.
but from where I come from and through my experience, the word for me, integrity, being truthful, trying to treat people the way you expect to be treated. It doesn't mean always that you need to say yes, but when you're saying no, you need to explain why. If you are in a position when your integrity is being challenged, there are ways and means that you can meet, and we have provisions around those when it comes to any conflict of interest. For example, when
Yes.
someone has applied for a position and you expect to be one of the
Like, for example.
interviewers, or just giving an example, and you say, look, I know this person well, or he's related to me, and I'm going to put forward that I have a conflict, and I'm out.
And be
And I'm out.
transparent.
Let's be transparent about it. And then, so there are ways and means. It doesn't mean that it's always easy, because sometimes you are challenged when it comes to applying
I'm sure you
your
are.
beliefs. But over the years, I think that the thing that really helped me to retain this, at least the way I look at it, is being truthful.
Being truthful.
Being truthful, being candid, listening thoroughly to what people are saying, because people need to be heard. And but sometimes I'm repeating myself, but I'm repeating myself on purpose, because in my mind, these are very important
It's a key message.
messages that we need to give to our people. So it's not like you just click your finger and you say, look, one of our values is integrity. If people don't see
No, people don't
doesn't
believe
work.
that. Absolutely.
So the culture is not something that we draw
That's worse
at Expo
sometimes.
level. It's something that we need to
Yes.
develop and build together with the rest of the organization. So in my simple way of trying to unpack this is the way I look at it.
In fact, because integrity is a value which needs to be translated into specific behaviors. So you talked about being truthful, being as transparent as you can. Some people define it as doing the right thing, even when the right thing is hard to do. The challenge, which I'm not challenging you directly, but challenging the concept, is that sometimes you act with integrity, and people might still judge that as unfair. So I have two questions. We can split it in two. Like, one is, are there times where you managed to act with integrity and fairness, because fairness is part of it, and even where people didn't like what you did, they still respected it? That's one question. That's the positive one. And the other one is, were there times when, because you acted with integrity and fairness, you were judged as unfair and lacking in integrity? So it's a bit of a double
For
edged.
sure,
Yes. Okay.
in both cases. So, and I'll give you an example of various vacancy processes that I was involved in.
Exactly.
Where you have a vacancy, 10 people apply. Every person who applied for a job feels that they are the right person for the job, but you need to select one. So obviously the selected person would feel happy and justified around what
And they say that the bank did, or the employer, did justice in my respect.
There might be some of just to give you the example that I was trying to portray. The rest of the employees would be split. There would be some of the people who accept that the person who was selected was better than them. But there will still be those who feel that they were
Unfairly discriminated.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had discussions with employees around this. And we also, whenever possible, we also invited these employees to be involved in interviewing process as interviewers.
Oh, okay.
It's like this is not done regularly, but when it comes especially to senior management
Yeah.
or to managers who have gone through this,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, we give them feedback as much as possible so that they understand why and what it
Yes.
is they need to develop for, so that next time they'll be in a better position
Yes.
to be successful. But giving them the opportunity to be in a panel, then they would understand the other side,
The other side of it.
how hard it is to come up with the person who is the best suited for a job. So, but I know that there are instances where people, after these discussions, still was in agreement because
It's very challenging. It's very challenging.
and-
We are we're often approached with this as outsiders, because as you said, in certain high level jobs, sometimes it's so neck to neck in terms of capability, the values, the experience, the qualifications, like, and and sometimes we're asked to use psychometrics because of that. So sometimes we come in with psychometrics to get a bit of a deeper dive into, for example, if this is a high position role, what are the potential derailers of that individual when they are under stress? Now, we insist that psychometrics, although very scientific, should never be taken on their own as criteria for choosing A and not B. But when it comes to looking at the fine differences between people, there it can be something that contributes. And in a way, because it's external, it's not based on human judgment, but it's based on something scientific that we offer. There's less chance that because people will have the result in front of them, and people will say, because they are self-reported, this is giving me what I gave it, So, but as you said, this objectivity is not easy. But again, as the more transparent the process, the more transparent the process is, the less likely you will get that.
look, we're I think that we have developed in this area, but still, as objective as I want to be, you're never totally objective.
You can't be.
So
can't be.
it's impossible.
Objective.
But the second part of the question was, were there occasions
Yes.
where people still? I had some difficult discussions with people, because I always start off in good faith. So if someone really feels that they're good for the job, they really feel it. It's not like they're acting it. They really think that they're right.
Genuinely feel that they are
genuinely.
yeah.
So having this kind of discussion with a person and telling them, look, you have a number of qualities, but we're looking for these and you don't have them. And we'll help you to attain them if you really want to get there. I think that type of discussion, which is hard, is still expected primarily from HR.
Okay.
Because at least in management, there are occasions where their management don't really tell them what they feel. Because tomorrow I'm going to work with this person. Tomorrow I'll tell that person the truth.
Exactly.
And again, this comes with integrity.
Exactly. Yes.
So telling a person in a good way, so it's not like bringing him down, but rather look, these are the good qualities. But there are a number of criteria that you haven't reached. And we help you reach them. So that next time around, you'll be in a better position to be successful. I think it should be carried out in a constructive manner. And I think that the vast majority of people, although they don't necessarily acknowledge this in your face, in their heart of hearts, they would know that if they really want to grow, I think that they would know
there are areas
they need
that they can
to grow, to develop.
What I appreciate is your take on these courageous conversations, difficult conversations. Because if you frame them the way that you're framing them, that you're actually doing a disservice to the employee if you don't have that conversation. I think even though it's a hard pill to swallow, okay, and a hard meal to digest, it is through honest, candid feedback that people grow. So as you said, the way it's presented, and this again, this is why we give a lot of training on how to give feedback, because sometimes it's the tune that makes the difference, not the lyrics. So the lyrics can be the same, but the way that you present it to people can be more palatable, especially if they know you're coming from a genuine place. You're giving them concrete examples of how they have not showed that particular competence that you're looking for. Like for example, the ability to take initiative, take leadership, and take things under control. If this person has never showed that, and you have evidence that this hasn't come out, it doesn't mean that they cannot do that, but it could mean that they need a bit of more confidence building, more believing in their own ability also to do that, and that maybe they will get there. But yes, there is a tendency that, again, without accusing anyone, but that managers do tend to leave that for HR. Let HR do those
I
different
think that
conversations.
organization need to invest more
Sure.
in line managers.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's not like pointing fingers.
Mhm.
It's like helping them to grow as well,
yes.
because it's not easy. So the way I'm dealing with people now, it came after a good number of years practicing, trying to trying testing how it feels,
Exactly.
getting feedback from people. So it's not easy, even receiving feedback when it is constructive, which is not the way you're interpreting or trying to convey a message. So one point that I have written down here when you're sharing your views was time.
Time.
I think that nowadays, no more than ever, we're such in this fast
Yes.
paced like life that giving people some time to talk. So I'm not talking about formally giving feedback as part of a performance management process.
No.
Giving people the time.
I'm laughing instead of crying.
So it's like having a customer, because at the end of the
yes.
day, we tend as organizations to give more time to the difficult customers, and the important ones which work diligently, have a good business.
True,
It's
true.
like we need to give them time as well. But if we apply it to our employees, I think that this is an integral part of our line managers, and this is something which I stress in every occasion that I have. Give time to your people.
Yes.
Even a simple 2-minute good morning after a weekend, was your weekend? Is everything okay? It starts off like in very simple words. People then come over maybe to ask a question, to relay something to you. And then when little by little, this relationship grows. If something critical,
Yeah.
if they come across something which is sensitive for them, it's easier for them to talk. But if you have never talked to them about
Exactly.
anything in person, how could you expect?
This is the point of building a relationship that is already there, that can carry then a conversation when something else happens. If there's no relationship, if I've never shown you that I
Foundations.
give a damn even about you, I haven't even asked you how you are, or even after
And people know,
you know.
Patrick, people know. I'm sure of this. People will know whether you are candid, you really mean it,
Yes.
or you're just doing it to say good morning just for the sake of saying good morning. People will know.
People
will
feel it.
feel.
Yes.
So it's something which people test.
I think this is a really
So it's
important
like-
point you're making, the authenticity with which you do that, because nowadays, especially I think younger people nowadays, I think, are more sensitive to lack of authenticity and lack of genuineness, because they are brought up to be more sensitive to human interactions, and maybe they don't have as many human interactions, but they're more allergic to values that are just spoken, and they're just, a colleague of mine calls them poster values, like these values that are on the walls and they stay there when they're not lived. So this thing of authenticity, I believe, is a very important message also, that it's not enough just to go through the works and say good. We're using good morning as an example because it's more. It's like even how are you, you know, but that genuine belief that you are a people manager. You are a people manager. So and that's not just HR that has the responsibility of managing people, but every manager who has responsibility for other people.
I tell you, there's a belief, especially when it comes to the younger generation, that this generation,
Yes.
it's like it's all about AI, it's all about digital, it's about all mobile and social media. I have come across a very good big number of employees in this category who are yearning for in-person talks.
So they're even more. They're yearning. They're yearning
yes,
even more.
Yes, they. So when you give them
Yes.
the opportunity, they will talk.
Yes, yes.
But you need to give and then put. No, we cannot put people into compartment. Say these are the people who are AI. These are the people who.
You can't do that.
It's-
You can't do that. Look, you have something which is very fundamental, right? The human brain. The human brain is built for connection. Now, whether we like it or not, it took us 300,000 years to arrive where we are today. So it took us 280,000 years to move from hunter-gatherer to farming.
Are you sure of this?
Why?
Pretty sure. I wasn't there, so I'm taking your word for it.
Well, the remains, not the human remains, show this, that modern Homo sapien is 300,000 years old with the brain. And the brain, as we know it, is built for connection. It's actually what gave us dominance over other different types of sort of humans. So even though we are living in a digital age, which is actually now being called the transhuman age because of AI, okay, there is still the yearning. If anything, the yearning is growing because they're not getting that connection. So the brain, look at most of the platforms. They somehow they all refer to connection. Even Instagram, that's so heavily used, you still think that you're connecting with other people because other people are seeing what you're posting. So we can never, at least for the foreseeable future, because again, if we become, if we become partly human, partly robot, let's not go there. But that's another podcast. But for the foreseeable future, connection is required. So, as you said, I think the people who aren't getting that, or maybe haven't even learned how to communicate and relate to people, it doesn't remove the yearning. So it's really interesting what you're saying, that even though the younger generation communicate more with technology, they use more, like AI has become, it's become part of our life. It doesn't remove
I think
the
we have a
human
huge
connection.
opportunity, to use AI, data management and data acquisition and data processing in a good way to help people relate more to the. I think it's such a huge
That is
opportunity that we have. So
highlight, underline, capital letters,
so
bold.
that AI taking over, AI will help us
Yes.
make our lives easier and more, and thus being more efficient. So it's not a. So I think that is because in this sphere, I think that this is a global thing, not Malta. Because the humans are going through this new reality everywhere. So I think this is a challenge to rather than AI. So there's this co-pilot. Okay, one of them. I think the person who termed this co-pilot is a genius, because if you're using the word co-pilot, it means that there's a pilot, and the pilot is the human. So
I like that.
it's not like shedding our responsibilities to the co-pilot, but we have this
Co-pilot.
co-pilot helping us to make our lives easier and to use our time, which is so precious, to make better connections and to make better use of whatever we want to do.
One of the questions I had was, I'm actually going to read the question because because you actually answered it, but it's really interesting that, like, in an AI-driven future, the human qualities like trust, empathy, and integrity become even more important.
Yes,
And you've come to it.
totally agree.
I call this a precious moment.
A reflective moment.
A reflective moment.
Without being too much of an optimistic because it's like it's not we're not living in cloud nine. It's like
It's good to be.
we need to be practical as well. I think those of us who are finding it hard to really care and focus on our well-being and say that this is just jargon, it's a nice way to say, but it's impossible. I think that's an opportunity to get this help,
Yes.
to make sense of our life, which is, as you said before, a life. Our life is work and our personal life. It's like,
Yes.
but the more we have the opportunity to recharge, to think, to stop and think, because I see people so operational that we don't even find the time to stop and think whether we can do something better without AI, without digitalization. It's just a process. Look at the process that you have been repeating for 10 years.
that's it.
Can we change that? So it's not like something which is rocket science, which is so far away from us. Some things are really depending on us.
On us. On us.
And we're so stuck in this wheel that we don't have the time or the energy or the appetite to move away for a few minutes and say, look, can I look at this wheel from a different angle? Can we? I don't think it's such an opportunity.
Yeah, it's like we call it the hamster wheel. It was like being caught in this hamster wheel.
I was trying to find the hamster, but I couldn't find it.
or the treadmill too. The treadmill, like that you're constantly on this treadmill that never unplugs. It's like if we don't,
we're running, it's like always we're sprinting. It's not that we're running. People sometimes feel that they're sprinting all the time.
all the time.
It's you're out of breath. But you need to stop because otherwise that is why we end up being burned out.
It's so interesting.
Difficulties in our lives.
Last week we had Jonathan Dingley over there in that chair, and he was actually talking about this, how he manages to unplug and detach a bit, even detoxifying digitally. So now there's like this digital detox. And it helps him very much even to maintain his sanity, and that's in many cases automation can help you to do that if you use it correctly. So I think it's a message of hope. It's very controversial, so I'm sure that there'll be listeners out there who will have 100 arguments against perhaps what we're saying, or saying that we're not being realistic. But you have given specific examples also of how this can happen. And I think the message that we want to give even through our podcast is that if we need to reclaim our humanity and remember that we remain human beings, not human doings. And if we're clever and use this properly, we can actually improve. The counter arguments are that all this is in the hands of a few powerful people who control everything, and they are only doing this to accumulate their wealth, etc., etc. But in a sense, that's the circle of concern, right? So come back to what you said. So let's focus on the circle of influence and start by taking control of how we use these tools, even in the workplace, and connect with other people as well. Last question. Is there any advice that you would give young people who aspire to become leaders, if they want to make it in the corporate world, given all that we've been saying? So,
So my advice to young people who want to make it
who aspire to be leaders and who aspire to reach, go up the ladder.
So one of the things I had learned when I was studying project management was that things are created twice. The first time you create it in your mind, the second time you apply it. So at least in my experience, when I really wanted to achieve something, I was focused on it, I was perseverant, I was patient, I worked towards it. I kept on learning, and I'm still learning every day, even today, thanks to you. So I think you need to build. You need to have a plan. You need to really want something, and you need to find ways of getting there without stepping on people.
The integrity.
Okay, so it doesn't mean that you achieve what you want to achieve at all costs. And this is another, I'm sure, but this is a controversial thing.
Yeah.
Statement that I'm saying, and some people say, yes, right. But I think that at the end of the day, when you look back and then you achieve what you want to achieve without trampling or pushing people away, etc., you'll have more satisfaction because you achieve what you wanted to achieve in the right way, and you still can look people in the eye.
Yes.
And then look, this is how I think that you should do this without being paternalistic or trying to because it, as I said before, to preach, because I said before, people go to different experiences and they have an idea of life based on their experiences. So it's not like trying to mold people the way you want them to be. So, and the last thing that I want to say is be yourself. Be yourself. You know what you really want. You need to have clear objectives in your life, whether it's what comes first in your life, whether it's family. If it's family, you need to focus on the family. If you need to, if it's your career, you need to focus on your career. If it's your personal life and your leisure time, you need to focus on that. And these things change. These change over the years. So, of course, in our as human beings, although grateful is one of the most important peoples, and I still want more. Doesn't mean
That's it. That's it.
just be grateful and then say I have it. Now it's it and
It's defining that more.
yes,
Like what is that more going to look like?
exactly. And focus on things that are within your control. Try to push this circle of control and be patient because there are people in competition. It's not like you're living in your world and no one and everyone will help you. So it's like building these lasting relationships which are based on true and sincere interactions because people, funny enough, will help you if they really believe that you're helping them. So it's like that is the karma part that I
Like you accepting to come on this podcast, for example. You're helping our project to spread, positive vibes and messages of hope. So
what is your take on this?
yes. Last time I mentioned this thing of swimming upstream, and I do believe that there is a very important message that people aspiring to be leaders that need to get. But obviously the messages come from different values. So in my case, my advice would be think about your contribution, not what you're going to get. And that is a bit of a shift of mindset because, as we said when we introduced the podcast, trust, integrity, values-driven leadership are not common nowadays. And so this is what I tell people: try to think about how is this going to help your contribution to society, and how are you going to look back in 50 years' time and say, what did I do with my life, and what was my contribution? Because we know that fulfills. But obviously, then there is the underlying value. So yes, that I think what the first thing that came to my mind when you asked me that question is think of your contribution and how we went
You're
through.
reminding me. I don't know whether we're concluding.
It's okay. We're
You're reminding
we're
me
close.
of a clip that I watched a few years ago, when there was this person asking very old people, what is their major message to
Yes.
the rest of the
Yes.
especially the young people, and it was don't be afraid of taking a risk
Wow.
because sometimes people say I am so sorry that I did not. I'm so ashamed. I'm so when I look back, not having taken that step
Yes.
forward
Yes.
is still haunting me. And I think that
That's very true.
being afraid of taking that bold step sometimes.
I have spoken to 20-year-olds who told me it's too late to start studying something different because I'm too old. Um, so you're very right. Okay, so first of all, thank you, Ray.
Welcome. My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. As always, I had no doubt that this conversation with Ray is going to be inspiring. I think it was a little bit more inspiring than I expected. We looked at various areas. We started with this whole idea of psychological safety in the workplace, speak up culture. Then we shifted into the importance of values, specifically integrity. How can we maintain our integrity even in a world that doesn't necessarily always promote it? And the importance of the human connection, where whatever we do, at least for now, we know that whatever we do, whatever improvements happen, even technologically, we remain humans who need to connect, and the human connection, the human interaction is critical, and we can capitalize on that. I also like your comment about adapting and adopting. I think it's a good message to, because you can adapt but not adopt. So I think that it's an empowering message, and to focus on the circle of influence. Do what you can while you can. I would thank the listeners and the viewers. As usual, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our podcasts are on YouTube, they're on Apple Podcasts, they're on Spotify. Big thank you to Nisja. They're very patient. They're monitoring us as we're doing this and helping us to direct the conversation. Their creativity, their patience, their professionalism, the whole setup, it's thanks to them. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you, well, you see us actually, for the next episode. Thank you.